Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
How many bosses do you have? Most people have a minimum of 3 bosses. Their first boss that they work from January to May is the government. It's called the IRS. It's called taxes. The second one is the bank, because people have debt to pay.
Okay.
Consumer debt, student loan debt. They have credit card debt. They've got car loans. They got mortgages, debt, right? Liability debt. The third one is an actual boss, right?
Yep.
And we are here.
You're missing the
Single
the most important one.
Well, I'm just saying the 3 bosses that we don't choose. Right? Right? The ones that you kind of fall into because you were told to go and get a good job and work hard, save your money, do all those things, right?
Right.
So those 3 bosses. And we're here on Wholesale Hotline to destroy all of those bosses, because you can not pay a tremendous amount in income tax.
Yes, sir.
You can not have to pay interest to a bank.
Yes,
You
sir.
can not have to have an actual boss. And that's the point of the show. That's the reason that we come here every single Monday, so that you know that you have a community of people that are all trying to help you fire all those bosses. So welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 169. Just kidding, 190. I am Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, and we are all here together. Pace Morby. Jamil Damji.
Yes, sir.
Love.
Second best
And
looking
Munif.
mustache right here.
Absolutely incredible. Welcome.
Thank you.
So great to have you guys here.
Glad to be here.
This is awesome.
Ooh, Remy says nothing but goats on my screen.
There it is.
Love Francis is definitely the goat. Munif is definitely the goat. I love it. We also have a live audience. Can we get a round of applause from the live audience? Now, if you guys are ever in Phoenix, Arizona, always stop by. Free drinks and free food every Friday at Brent Daniels' offices.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Love it.
For what? Free what?
Free jokes, free fun, free community, free lunch. Yeah.
Free everything.
Love it.
So what have you guys all been up to? I just got back. Landon Moore, as you guys can see on the screen, hung out with him in Montana. Just bought a ranch up in Montana.
Congratulations. Bro.
Creative Finance. I'm sure you guys will all be hanging out. Community camp. Anybody? Community camp?
I see Landon at the gym all the time.
Yeah, he
Good to see you,
told
Landon.
me that. He says that he
Yeah.
works out and you're just there studying.
That's it.
You're reading like The Go-Giver and all sorts of stuff.
Landon and Munif might have to go have a mustache off.
Uh-oh. Munif wins, hands down.
I mean,
it's not
Munif-
even close.
Munif's-
It's not even close.
Munif's mustache is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Landon's
Munif
is a
has sold me
9.8.
way more deals than Landon has. Landon's only sold me 2 deals. I've done a lot more deals with Munif than that.
It's,
You guys-
it's a phenomenon. Every deal I sell you, it gets curlier and curlier.
Oh my
great.
gosh. Yes.
So there was a guy when I was growing up that oddly enough looked a lot like you, bald in the head, and had a mustache, and it was phenomenal. I mean, this thing by the time he got into his prime, this thing was like out to here, and it curled up, and it had its own name. So what's the plan with it, by the way?
There is a plan.
Yeah.
Ooh,
When
I like
when our daughter is old enough to really recognize my face, we're going to document me shaving.
Oh,
and scaring her.
yes.
That's the plan.
I love those.
You're gonna
videos,
shave
dude.
it off?
Mhm.
Really?
There's a lot of work
Food
that
in
goes
there?
into this. There's a lot of
Yeah, a lot
a lot
of
of
that.
nutrients.
There's a lot of nutrients.
Takes a lot of his vitamins.
Is there a way for you to shave it off, but not destroy it
Yeah.
and possibly frame it or put it
People
somewhere.
do that with their pets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
taxidermy
about?
and things.
Taxidermy.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can taxidermy a mustache, keep it, and then every holiday, birthday, Halloween, you can actually put it back on.
Man, people are weird, bro.
That is cool.
So Jamil, what have you been up to?
So all of last week, Bobby and I were in the beginning of the week. We're at Vid Summit, YouTube Vid Summit, which was pretty fun. We got to hang out with some cool creators and learn some techniques and strategies on how to make our YouTubes more fun.
Mhm.
And then I went on a 3-day meditation retreat with Joe Dispenza, where in over 3 days I meditated for like 36 hours.
Damn.
Wow.
12 hours a day. It was intense. It was super intense, but I got a lot of insights from it.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that why you were so good in our meeting today?
Possibly.
It was a good meeting today.
Yeah, I have. You know what it is? It like clears you out. It helps you quiet up the noise in your mind so that like what really needs to come out comes out.
I love it. Brent, what have you been up to, brother? You just got back from a trip.
From an anniversary, 8-year anniversary. I love you, Aaron Daniels. 8 years. Yeah. So
Where'd
we
you
went
guys
to
go?
Banff, Canada.
You guys always do
It was
epic
wonderful.
stuff. 3
Wow, my old
years ago,
place.
you went to Jackson.
Yep.
You did like an all inclusive
Yeah,
deal.
Yellowstone.
Did you do another all inclusive deal this time?
Basically, yeah. We stayed at a castle there. It was awesome.
A
They
castle
don't do
in
an
Banff?
all inclusive in Banff. No.
It's like a, but you get the packages that you can pre-buy.
It's,
get like-
it's a legitimate castle though. This thing
Yeah.
is huge and it's beautiful.
1888 it was built.
Wow.
Yeah.
Same year poutine was invented.
Oh, I'm sure it was invented well before that.
I have no idea.
What?
Yeah, I don't know when poutine was invented.
Okay, and
Google.
Love and Munif, what have you guys been up to?
I also don't know when poutine was invented, but we are.
Do you know what poutine is?
It's like a Canadian thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's French fries, brown gravy, and cheese curds.
Yeah, it sounds delicious. It looks. Yeah.
If I was Munif, I'd have some in my mustache right now, so I'd be able to show it to you and be like, "That's a poutine." But I don't have that.
Do you miss it? Do you go back to Canada just for that?
So there's a restaurant that just opened up in Scottsdale called Moxie's that is a Canadian restaurant that just so happens to serve poutine, and it has become my favorite restaurant.
Amazing.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
So that's what's up. Yeah, I miss it. I miss it.
Well, now you don't have to.
You guys have been traveling around a lot.
Yeah, we've been to Texas. Now we're here, and we're going back to Virginia tomorrow. But it's been so amazing to be back here and to be a part of the last Sub 2 Mastermind
Right.
was so crazy and so amazing. Connect with so many amazing people.
It was an epic week.
It was epic. But yeah, we're here. I didn't know I was going to be on the show today.
I'm glad you're here.
But I'm
Are
so
you
excited to
ready
be
to
here.
do some Q&A?
Yeah.
Okay, I got the first question of the day.
Mhm.
You ready? How do I start wholesaling if I'm a new immigrant and I'm not perfect with English?
Oh, Brent, this is a good one for you.
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
What do you think? Come here.
Uh,
Come here, Glenn. He just closed. What'd you close? How big of a deal was that?
60,000, about 60K.
Talk into
total.
the microphone here.
Hello,
no,
everybody.
you didn't.
Yep.
Hold on. Your English isn't perfect, though. So
Oh,
how did
I'm
you
so
get the
sorry.
deal done?
I came, what is it, babe? It's about 7 years ago now, and I had zero English, broken. Nothing. And then this lady, like right there, was talking so fast. I'm like, whoa, hold on. But
That's
she
what
helped
they,
me to
that's what
learn
they do in the
super quickly.
Midwest.
Anyway, yes. Guys, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just pick up the phone, maybe get a script,
Mm-hmm.
and trust me, there's someone out there that will definitely actually listen to you because you do have an accent. I was thinking that I do not have advantage because I do have an accent, Eastern European accent, Russia. So, but I had all these limiting beliefs that, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
people cursing me, which they do, but it really doesn't matter. There's someone out there right now that is waiting for your phone call from your voice, from
Mhm.
your character, and they will listen to you. And if they want to sell, they'll probably sell it to you.
How many hours of calls do you make a day?
On average, 5,
Uh-huh.
and I just cold call.
Doesn't it get boring?
It's getting very boring. Very boring. I'm going to be honest, but if it was easy, everybody would do it. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how
Can-
long did it
can-
take you to get your first deal?
88 days
There you
here
go.
in Maricopa County.
There you go.
88 days, $60,000.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them total. They actually closed like a day out. I think September 3rd and then September 4th or something like
Wow.
that. September 5th to the September
Should we maybe
6th.
ring the bell?
Come
Let's go.
on.
What up?
There you
Sorry,
go.
too loud.
I would suggest also,
Excellent.
if you're an immigrant, maybe connect with other immigrants and, kind of create a little bit of accountability group. But it is amazing. Sometimes the accent can give you an advantage. It
Mhm.
disarms people, right? So congratulations, bro. Did you buy her anything nice? Okay. All right.
Could you
That's
ever
nice.
just a question, because one of the things that I think works for a lot of people is if you have something that maybe isn't perfect or whatever, when you lean into it a little bit and you're like, hey, I apologize if you're having a hard time understanding me. I've got, I'm new, and so my English. Do you ever acknowledge it right out the gate so that they know, it's not a thing, that you're doing your best? Is that ever something? Is that a strategy, or do you just not acknowledge it at all and just fly right through?
I do slow down because sometimes they're like, "What did you say?" I'm like, and then I kind of repeat it slowly. Oh yeah, okay, got it. And
But you're never like, oh, obviously I have an accent, so if you need me to repeat anything, like you don't try to bring them on your side by maybe helping them understand or get a little bit of empathy for you.
no, I used to apologize, but I'm not. What am I apologizing?
There's no need to.
It's just I'm really here to help you, and you have my heart, and I'm just trying to see like if you have an issue or a problem that I can solve.
Wonderful.
And then just give, and I know these people will come back. So.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Conviction doesn't have an accent. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They can feel it.
Put that on a t-shirt, bro.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. you got it.
Saving Classic Car says almost $700 a day is what that breaks down to.
Mhm.
$700 a day. That's pretty epic. Congrats, bro.
So that's $125 an hour that you get making calls. We need that up to 1,500. Let's go.
Yeah, somebody did
Let's
that.
go. Yeah.
Love that.
Well, they should
Accent-
do the math. Think about it. Think about if you really tracked when you actually are lead generating in your business, the actual times that you do and what you get in return for that. And then if you could think about that, and it's kind of like an, kind of a hourly mentality, which you should break out of, but it just gets you going in the beginning to be consistent, and keep the discipline to keep going every single day. And it's exciting to think about.
Okay, so you should probably get in the Wholesale Hotline chat on YouTube right now and maybe drop your information in the side chat. People are like, who is that handsome guy? How did he get so shredded, is that what they're saying? Also, somebody said that poutine was invented in 1950.
1959 in Quebec.
Love it.
Well, there you go.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, Brad.
It was the
It's
castle
French.
was before.
The
Poutine.
castle, pre-poutine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, Josh Keating says, I hired my first VA over the weekend and I started training her today. Any tips on training or building my culture I want to have in my business? I'll go really quickly. I think it sounds like Munif love to answer this about VAs, because you do have good VAs. I have good feedback. People come to me and go, Love's VAs are dope. Okay. But I would tell you, if you're making your VAs make calls, I would have your VAs listen to other people's calls and multiple different types of people's personalities rather than just your own in the very beginning. Let them find their voice. But I would have them listen to other people's calls. The other thing I would have them do is, if you are in sub 2, Josh, you should have your VA tie into like the nightly dial, or have your VA tie into the daily dial so that your VA can get trained or listen to other people and how they overcome objections. That way you have training kind of 5-6 days a week. Love, what do you have to say about this?
So I would recommend touching base with her and in the beginning and letting her know exactly what your idea of success looks like in that role for her, right? I'm not sure if you've done this before, what you've hired her to do. I don't know if it's cold calling. I don't think it states, correct? No. So if it is cold calling, I don't know if you have any videos, but making her watch those videos and what Pace recommended of having them go to daily dial, nightly dial, it's a really great recommendation. But in regards to having that very specific descriptive role of what success for you looks like, and then casting that vision and those expectations regularly, and knowing that because she is your first VA, and I'm not sure if you have processes and job descriptions and role descriptions all panned out, but it's going to take a lot of verbalization and you having one-on-one accountability calls with her, because once you set those expectations, is how are they going to, you know, meet up to those expectations, and are you touching base with them weekly based on those expectations? And if they don't meet those expectations, where are they falling short? You know, I think that can take you a long way in regards to the culture aspect, roles, and anything you need them to do.
How are your children not going to dominate? I mean, you guys are basically Jay-Z and Beyonce of the real estate world. You know what I'm saying? Like,
They're gonna crush it.
It's so amazing the dynamic you guys have and the balance that you bring to each other. Your children are going to just be multi-billionaires. It's going to be epic.
Wanted to add one thing to the culture aspect of that as well, is if you haven't yet identified what your core values are for your company, I think that's a really important thing. Really, like, define it. People skip this part. They don't define what their core values are. They don't define a mission statement. And when you don't have those things written out and well defined, you can't translate that to your hires, whether they be VAs or in-house. So a quick exercise to do, I think you could probably knock that out in a day, but really give yourself some self-reflection and figure out what are you trying to exude in terms of your core values and your mission.
Yeah, somebody made a comment to me the other day about a mission statement, and they said, you remember when we used to stand in school and put our heart over our chest and say the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah.
That was our country's mission statement. I was talking about our core values, and when we remove that from our everyday, there's a decline in what our culture really is, or maybe an absence of culture. So mission statement is very important, your core values. And it's interesting to watch other people's core values when they actually put them on the wall. And when your team walks in or they get introduced to a Zoom, remind your team what the core values are at the beginning of every Zoom, every meeting, etc. Have your team go, all right, what are our core values? And if you don't have them, you're not going to have culture, and people need to know what that is.
But isn't that propaganda?
Yeah.
Isn't that just brainwashing your people to do what you want?
Yeah, but so is reminding your kids to brush their teeth. You're trying to brainwash them.
Well, you know what cult is short for?
Culture.
That's right.
Yeah, it's the root word.
Right.
I'm all about having a cult. Okay, so Jamil, this one's a good one for you. How do you find buyers for commercial properties?
Well, it'll be the same way as you would find buyers for residential properties, right? The people who play in a specific field, they're going to be repeat offenders. And so you got to find out, who do they typically do business with? Who are the people that commercial buyers would hang out with or seek to find opportunities from? Typically, that's going to be a commercial real estate agent, right? So I'm going to take a look at either connecting with some really high level or industry specific or niche specific commercial real estate agents that might have access to some specific buyers for the type of product that you have available. Next, I would look at who are or what companies own more than one property in this specific asset class. You can find that through tax record searches, and then identify, this is a specific buyer for this industrial type of property. This is a buyer for medical office. This is a buyer for office space, whatever that is. They're constantly going to be investing in the same asset class. Commercial real estate investors are like the most repetitive humans you'll find. They like industrial buyers will only buy industrial, and you can show them the coolest office building and it'll have great cash flow, but they're like, no, I only like warehouses, or I only like dump yards, or whatever that is, because they understand it. So just dive into the niche and then find out who the gatekeepers are in the niche, and you'll be fine.
Awesome. Tammy Sampson says, in a foreclosure, when is sub 2 not an option? Sub 2 is not an option in a foreclosure once the house has been foreclosed on. Now, it still is an option if it's maybe an HOA foreclosure, like a sheriff's sale. If it's a sheriff's sale, there's a redemption period. Arizona, I believe our redemption period is 90 days or maybe 180 days. I can't remember. But in a traditional trustee sale, right, it goes to the auction. The trustee is hired. They basically either the bank takes it back or a buyer comes along and buys it with cash. It's over. It's done. Nothing can be done. You cannot go back in sub 2 a loan that has now been closed out and paid off. So the moment that the house gets foreclosed on, sub 2 is no longer an option. Every single moment prior to that, sub 2 is always an option. Now, is it a good idea? Now, another question could be, is it a good deal? Well, I don't know. I mean, if you've got arrears of $200,000 on a $400,000 house, is that a house we want to mess around with, Munif?
No, not at all.
I mean, we could do loan modifications and then maybe buy it on a lease option so we can avoid, some of the legalities. And there's things there, right? Loan modifications do work. But what if somebody doesn't get a loan modification and they still need $200,000 to catch up the arrears? Is that a deal I should pursue, even though I can technically buy it?
No.
Right. So there's a different version of the same question, but there you go. Brent.
Yep.
Have a good question here about conversion rates. Okay, so let's go through this. Swayam Singla.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so good at pronouncing things. I guarantee I hit
By the way,
that.
That's not bad.
Swayam is joining us from India. He's not even 18 years old. He's got a real accent, like a real thick Indian accent. The guy's closing 4 or 5 deals a month. So
Love it.
again, to the person who said,
what's his
how do
lead
I
generation?
Agent outreach.
Agent outreach.
Yep. When he's talking to people, he's just coming in being super helpful. He's got the right spirit in his heart, and he does not let any of that get him down. He goes after it and he gets it done.
So Brent Daniels, what's your average conversion rate from lead to contract? Obviously, you're going to have to get specific on lead generation and which one, because I know you have multiple different lead sources. And then from contract to assignment. And from assignment to deal closed.
Great questions.
The more money you spend for people to call you, the lower the conversion rate's going to be. Okay. The more proactive you're going to be, the higher your conversion's going to be. You need more leads, the more proactive that you are, than people that are ready to sell. I
think you said
right
that
away.
backwards. The more money you spend
is a lower conversion
the
rate.
higher conversion rate.
Sure.
Right.
I mean, you need to talk to less people.
There you go. So higher conversion rate.
Yeah.
So if you're spending money on PPC,
higher conversion rate. Yeah.
You're saying I'm going to get, let's say, 20 phone calls.
Yes.
I'm probably going to get 6 contracts out of that.
So from a pay-per-click lead standpoint, it's about 1 to 33 leads from pay-per-click. There are some leads that we're testing out that are already vetted leads that you buy per lead from propertyleads.com. And so we're testing those right now, which is really interesting. And then and first of all, make sure you understand what a lead is. A lead is somebody that has decided they're going to sell their house.
Yeah, not somebody you spoke to.
We're deal finders, not deal creators. We're not going to just magically create this transaction. It's got to be already in their head. Now, they might be thinking that they're going to wait a little bit longer, or they need a few things to happen. There might be some challenges that we have to overcome, but they've made the decision that they no longer want to own that property. So that's number one. So as long as you have that, it's about 50 to 1 with the leads that you get from prospecting, just depending on your area. If you're in a major city, if you're in a smaller city, it's about 1 to 20.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. A couple of questions about title companies. I think Philip Reed has asked this a couple of times. So let's jump on this. My fiance and I are trying to get started. We've been listening to the podcast and joining the live chats. How do we get started? And we heard about title companies, but like how and when do we add them? Okay. Man, the hardest part about real estate is there's so many ways to succeed. I could show you a path. If you told me, Pace, you have to start by adding a title company as your first step, I could get a deal that way, right? How would you get a deal with a title company, Munif? How would you leverage a title company to get a deal?
The way I would leverage a title company to get a deal is I would find agents that are doing a lot of volume with those title companies. I'd get their numbers, and then I would cold call those agents to see if they have any deals.
Love that. Okay. Another thing that we did last month on the Elephant Challenge, we're going to do the same thing this month on the Elephant Challenge. Is the first thing I did at the beginning of the Elephant Challenge. I said, watch me call title companies. And so I called title companies. I made 5 phone calls. I got a hold of 3, went and met with 2, and I got foreclosure, expired, and all sorts of other lists that they gave you. And now every Friday I get a list of these things from these title companies. And we even had one of the title companies come on the Elephant Challenge that I called. He was like, holy crap. Like, I had no idea that you had 2,800 people on this live. He sent me a text a couple of days later. He's like, I'm overwhelmed. This is so great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And people are already getting deals from that list that he's sending out to those 2,800 people. So go to a title company. You could, in the very beginning, Go to a title company, say, I need a list of foreclosures, a list of this. Munif says, get a list of agents who are doing the most business. Now, title companies have access to data, okay, because they're also reaching out to agents saying, hey, use us, use us, use us. So they have a list of the most active realtors and how many transactions they represented on the buy side and how many transactions they represented on the list side. Title companies have a lot of information. Now, you're going to listen to somebody else. I'm going to go to Brent or to Jamil right now and say, Jamil, what if going to a title company was physically impossible for you? You could not go to a title company to get your first deal. Do you need to start with a title company to get your first deal?
Absolutely not. No, there's so many ways that you can go out and do lead generation for your initial contract, whether you're going direct to seller, doing agent outreach, paid marketing, if that's your stick, whatever that is. There's many ways to get out there and get that done, right? But again, you don't have to physically get into a title company to go and do business with them either. Majority of them are, you can just call and you can do deals with them virtually. You can just say, hey, look, I'm over here in Phoenix, Arizona, or wherever you're located. I want to do deals in your area though. So let's just say you're going to want to do deals in Florida. Do you do investor deals? Can I do wholesale transactions, assignments, any issues with creative finance? You want to make sure that first and foremost that whoever you're talking to is going to accept the kind of deals that you do, because not all title companies are built the same. Some title companies are built strictly for residential style deals. And so those title companies are going to be a hindrance to you because they're going to tell you that everything you're trying to do is either illegal or they can't do it. Yeah. And so you really want to get out there and have those conversations early on in the process. I don't think it's the first thing you need to do, but it could be. But have the conversation early on in the process so that they can help you out. Now, I have talked about this before, but they can do a lot of things. They can help you with your contracts. They can help introduce you to agents, like Munif said. They can introduce you to acquisition wholesalers. I have my title company tell me who are the best wholesalers that they're working with that close a bunch of deals, that love going direct to seller, and introduce them to me and let them know that I'm the guy they need to sell deals through. And they do. So I get live contracts through those connections, through acquisition wholesalers. And then guess what else I say? Hey, introduce me to some of your fix and flip buyers that are really good, that pull the trigger on the spot, and they may be interested or looking for a deal right now. And guess what I can do? I can take one deal from an acquisition wholesaler that the title company introduced me to. I can take the buyer that the title company introduced me to. I can pair them up on a deal that's live. I can make $5,000 or $10,000 on relationships that they both gave me.
Okay, so
what about hard money too? Hard money lenders,
100%,
getting referrals from
100%.
Who the title companies like using for hard money, and then calling them up saying, "Hey, where are people buying? Where should I be looking for deals? Where are you lending money?" And they'll tell you where they're lending money, and then you can actually bring it to the hard money lenders, and they'll wholesale it for you if you don't have a list.
I think.
My title company, ladies, they send me clients for TC deals, you know? So even for people who are wanting to get started doing TC, title companies, if you show them that you're reliable and you can make their jobs easier, they'll also send you clients.
Awesome.
There you go. Philip Reed says, Brent Daniels, do we need a business license or an LLC to get started in order for checks to come into my bank account?
Well, listen, you could cash them. I mean, you don't need them. Should you have them? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a entity without a soul. Is that what it's called? Right. Or it's a whatever. So it's your ability to really protect the money that you make, because it's the whole earn, spend, and then get taxed, as opposed to earn, get taxed, and then spend. Yeah.
Can you ride a bicycle without a helmet, shin guards, and knee pads? Sure you can. Should you do it when you're brand new?
Nope.
Probably not. Protect yourself. That's what an LLC is there for. So yes, you can do it. Not suggested, but yes, you can do it. A couple of people asked me in the comments, what are some, they said, I'm calling. Okay. This is it right here. Nicholas says, I'm trying to figure out what list I should call for my first sub 2 deal. I've been calling a no equity list, but none of them are selling so far. Any other lists I should try? So Nicholas Allen, first and foremost, remember what Galen talked about. He said, what? He said, I called for 88 days in order to get 2 contracts, in order to make $60,000, in order to make $700 a day, in order to make $130 some odd dollars per hour. Welcome to business. Whether you're selling freaking life insurance or you're selling construction services or carpet cleaning, welcome to building a pipeline and building consistency. That's how it works. So no equity lists work incredibly well, but the guaranteed way, right? We had Nita on Get Creative last night. What did Nita say? She's working on foreclosures. She calls them, she texts them, and then when they don't answer the call or the text, she goes and knocks on their door. Single woman for the last 5 years, single woman, Chicago, winter, summer, whatever. She does a minimum. She says, I go, I mean, can somebody do this? Like 1 deal a month? She's like, 1 deal a month? Like, what are you talking about? She does 3 to 5 deals every month. She has to turn her pipeline off for a couple of months to catch up with the construction she's doing. She's just going after foreclosures in Chicago, and Chicago has a long foreclosure time frame. We have a short foreclosure time frame, so it should be easier. But again, why do people not do it? Is because it's challenging. And if it wasn't challenging, then everybody would be doing it. So remember this, Nicholas. Foreclosure is a great way to get sub-2 deals and cash deals. All you have to do is do the stuff that nobody else wants to do. What did Nita say? I asked her this question. I'm curious what you think the answer is, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP.
Nita's a rhino, man.
Yeah,
she's incredible.
She's incredible. You ask her this question, and I want to know what you think her answer is. She said, I said, okay, Nita, when you go and knock on these doors, are you the first person that they've heard from at knocking the door? Better question, after knocking their door 2 or 3 weeks, are you the only person, or is there a lot of competition knocking that door?
Yeah, there's not much. I mean, it just depends. I mean, if it's a pre-foreclosure, I don't know how Chicago is, but, here there'd be a good amount of real estate agents and investors knocking on the door. But I think after a few weeks, it would die down.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said. She said, I go to, let's say 100 doors, roughly 100 doors. Actually, what she says, I knock about 50 doors a month. That's it.
Yeah.
Because what she's doing,
focused.
She's laser focused. She's foreclosure, vacant property, or foreclosure and probate, one of those two. And she's going after a double dip, not a double dip, but she's going after multiple pain points. She says, I only have to knock like 30 to 50 doors a month to get 3 to 5 deals a month. So she's like 1 in 10 doors. She's getting a deal. She's doing a lot of subtail deals right now. So subject to retail. And then she's keeping some of these as well. And I said, what happens when you knock on the door? She says, probably 80% of the time, I'm the first person that's knocked the door. By the second week, after I've left a couple of notes, and they finally answer the door, I'm the only person that they've actually spoken to. Yet it's really competitive, guys. It's really competitive. Okay. Consistency has no competition, guys. First and foremost, remember that consistency has zero competition.
Discipline gets you places motivation can't. It's just a fact.
Francois says, hey guys, I'm 18 years old. I started Gator lending and wanted to know how to work my way into a wholesale deal. Title companies. You already heard Munif Love talk about it. Title companies. Call title companies and say, what wholesalers are showing up without EMD? Okay. Ooh, this is great. We already talked about this. Thank you for that. I think he missed it when we answered it. Ooh, here we go. This one's a good one. Hey, what market is Munif in, and how can we get him deals?
Oh, I love that question.
Of course you do.
I am in the major Texas markets, the Phoenix and Tucson markets, and just recently in the Northern Virginia market. The best way to get me deals, you can just text me. My phone number is 571-274-4087. Just text me.
And next time you ask this man a question, please start it off by saying, I mustache you a question. Okay?
That's so good.
You freaking missed an opportunity right there, my friend. Just FYI. Here we go. Howard says, I did my first door knock on the water, shut off lead. She's looking to sell and she owns the house next door. She said, I was the first person to actually show up and meet her. There you go. So title companies need people with earnest money. Yeah, of course they do. Otherwise, they are violating. And if they get audited, they can lose their license. If they're opening escrow on files that don't have earnest money attached, which happens like 80% of the files at our title company, except when Gator came out, like now people are doing a lot. It's crazy. Are you doing many Gator EMD transaction coordinations?
Just for our subscription clients.
Oh, okay, cool.
Kevin Show. specifically.
Kevin Cho. Oh my, he's a mess on paperwork, just straight up. I'm just telling
Not
you.
anymore.
Not well with you, he's not. I told when I bought the last deal I bought with him, I was like, or the first deal I bought with him, I go, I'm never doing another deal with you without a TC. He hires you, and I go, okay, now we can do a lot more deals. You've done a phenomenal job. Okay, cool. Pace, if you have 1 minute to explain what sub 2 and how it works, how would you explain it? Amazing. This is really simple. I love this. This is so easy. What is subject to? Anybody in here have a payment on your phone? Like a monthly payment? Anybody? You do? Mooney, if you have a payment on your phone?
Yeah.
Are you just saying that for me?
No, I bought it on they gave me like 0% interest.
Okay, love it. Okay,
12
cool.
months.
So you have a payment on your phone.
Mhm.
Do you have the iPhone 14?
Yeah.
Are you going to upgrade to the iPhone 15?
No.
Why not?
Well, I want to pay this one off.
Well, what if I just paid it off for you and you just handed the phone to me?
Okay. Yeah, I'd do that.
And then you went and got another 0% interest loan on the 15. Would you do that?
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you offering to do that?
I would do that, yeah.
Okay.
So Carius Scott, I just bought his phone subject to his existing loan. So he has a loan on his phone. I am buying his phone subject to the existing loan, which means I just take over the payments. That's subject to. Now, if he had the phone paid off, do you have your phone paid off?
I do.
Okay, so what phone do you have?
I have the iPhone 13.
iPhone 13. What do you think? What do you think you could sell it for on Craigslist right now?
Probably like $500.
Okay, would you sell it to me for $600 if I gave you $50 monthly payments for 12 months?
It depends.
Okay. Would you give me?
yes.
Would you give me six? What about 650?
Yes.
Come on, work a deal with me, love. Let's freaking negotiate. You want some money down?
I want 5% down.
5% down, easy. That's like $32.
Yeah.
No problem.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll give you 5% down.
Oh.
You'll let me make monthly payments for the next 14 months, and I get to use the phone in the meantime while I still owe you money, right?
Actually, I want to make it interesting.
Okay, love
so
this.
no 14 months.
Mhm.
I need it paid down in 10 months.
Okay.
So I need a balloon.
Oh, this is so easy. We'll do a 10-month balloon.
What's a balloon pace?
Okay, a balloon means she's going to give me 14 months worth of payments. But she says, I don't want to wait 14 months for you to make all those payments. So I'm going to let you make 10 of those payments on a monthly basis. But on the 10th month, I want you to pay the last 4 months all at the same time. So here we are. Galen goes and does 88 days of calls using what phone? Did you use a cell phone? Okay,
That one right there.
amazing. So what kind of phone do you have?
iPhone 12.
Okay. You got an iPhone 12 that you made $60,000 on in 88 days.
By the way, he only got half of that. He made 112. What was the total
No,
of all the?
that's total, Craig. Those two was
60,000.
just a little under 60, but 60 after my.
Okay, so he generated
Yeah.
$60,000 by using an iPhone 12. I'm getting your iPhone 13 for $650, only $32 out of my pocket. I can take that phone. I don't need 10 months. I'm going to go and do what he did, and in 88 days, I'm going to have 60 grand. I can go buy 120 of these shits. I'm going to have 120 iPhone 13s. Big baller. So what I did with Munif was subject to, because he has a payment on his phone. What I did with Love is called seller finance. She is the seller. She's financing me. I make payments to her directly because she owns the phone free and clear.
Why would she go 14 months, but she wants to get paid off in 10? Why wouldn't your payments just be for 10 months?
Well, because I don't want a really high payment, so I'm letting her stretch out. She's letting
your
me stretch
your
out the
monthly
payments.
payment is lower
Mhm.
if the term is longer,
Correct.
even if there's a balloon.
That is
So you
correct.
can get a house with a 50-year.
I only have 3 properties with 50-year loans, and
What about 30?
not one of them has a balloon. But yes,
Right.
isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is
A
crazy.
50-year note with no balloon.
Yeah.
And why
It's amazing.
Why'd you agree to 50 years?
Me? So I could have a lower payment, and so I could tell you on Wholesale Hotline that I'm the shit.
Sell that phone to me for $60 a month.
I will wrap that phone to Justin Tumanowski for $72 a month with a $150 down payment. I got to buy dinner tonight.
What if
Pace,
what if it has a cracked screen?
If it has a cracked screen, then I could get a private money lender to give me $14 and
And go get the screen fixed.
and go get the screen fixed. There you go. Hopefully that makes sense for y'all in creative finance land. Okay, really, really simple. Balloons.
It's fun though. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, listen, cash offers are awesome. Cash offers are, you can get some really, really big paydays. It's a great foundational, but being able to understand what really solves the problem for the property owner in the position they're in really makes this business so exciting. And you can keep learning, and put together these incredible deals.
Here's a good question. Brent, would you recommend sending out letters for a beginner in wholesaling?
If you're in a smaller market, it could work.
Also, what's the other thing you have to take into consideration when you're sending mailers?
You have to be able to answer the phone.
Yeah, and you've also got to be able to shelter or shoulder all that payment. I mean, that's going to cost you money to send out letters.
That's right.
Their direct mail is not cheap, and it doesn't. You don't get deals on direct mail the first time you send out a campaign.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
direct
3
mail
to 4
is like,
months.
yes, it's
6
touch
months.
points. They need to keep seeing your mail over and over again.
It's a commitment, guys. It's like trying to get pregnant. You don't get pregnant on your first try. You know what I'm saying?
Unless you're Laura.
Yeah.
Unless
you're
Laura.
Jerry Norton.
Unless you're Jerry Norton. He don't have to
Yes,
try.
yeah.
He sneezes like a baby 11.
Anyway, but you have to have the ability to answer those calls live, because if you don't, they're going to call somebody else. So one, make sure that when those calls come in, you recognize it on your phone. You're not like, oh, this is an unknown number, I'm going to just ignore it. Make sure that you have a ringtone or something that's going to set it apart differently, or something that pops up. Two, yeah, you have to have but any marketing channel, you have to go at minimum of 6 months and really go consistently. So whatever the costs are for that marketing channel, make sure you have that set aside so that you can feel confident just doing that over and over and over, because it does take reps with
when I first started my first month in wholesaling, I spent $5,000 on direct mail.
Mm-hmm.
I made 50 G's.
Yeah.
Net. I then was like, oh, hell yeah. I'm going to 20
cheat code,
grand, baby.
baby.
I went to 20 grand real quick, and I didn't make 50 grand. I was like, wait, where's all my, I thought, what? I thought I would.
What did you do on the month that you spent the 20?
It was less. It was like 30 grand, right?
Okay, so you still were net positive.
I was net positive.
You got the 20 back plus 10.
I've never lost money on direct mail. Now I know how to talk to people, right?
That's the other part.
I've built relationships with people. I have no problem talking to a random human being about a random topic, right? So you spend money, you give me a lead, I'm going to dominate. Same thing with Munif, same thing with a lot of people in this room. You just know how to build friendships with people, and you know how to be friendly. So I don't have a problem generating the lead and having a quality conversation. The problem is, it is luck of the draw in a lot of ways, right? Sometimes you'll get somebody that sees your direct mail and they call you and they go, take me off your freaking list, or I'm going to find you and kill you.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Or you get the people that will actually like write you back.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't send me this garbage.
Oh, those are the best.
I know where you live.
But direct
And
mail.
I have nothing but time on my hands.
Yeah.
See, look, I wrote this letter.
Direct
Very
mail,
dangerous.
I would say direct mail is the highest cost per contract.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're brand new, right? When somebody says, I'm brand new, if I knew other ways of generating leads, I would have not started ever in my journey on direct to mail, because I was in a position to start with direct mail. So you'll never hear me tell a new person, start spending money on direct mail, because the cost per contract is anywhere between, depending on the market size, if you're in a small podunk city, you're going to do pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You'll probably be $3,000 to $5,000 a contract.
Yep.
If you're in Phoenix, you're going to be like $8,000 to $15,000 per contract, depending on your ability to close a deal and follow up and be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I decided to venture into SEO. Not many people talk about it. What's the best way to maximize on it, and is it worth it at all? Here's my initial reaction. You and I might have different opinions, and I'm okay with you correcting me.
Oh, I can't.
I decided to venture into SEO. Not many people talk about it. Yeah, because that was a strategy in 2005.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No. The other piece though, with search engine optimization, it's a long game.
Yeah.
It is a super, super long game. So if Baraka, if you're trying to get deals done like ASAP, SEO is not the way to get through it. It's not going to happen. It's a constant nurturing process and making sure that the meta tags are all right. You've got the right team in place, and it's costly. Mm-hmm. It's not free, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got people that'll say, "Oh man, it's organic. It's organic." Yeah, but what did your organic cost? What did it cost for you to hire the people that were doing the meta tags? What did the actual company that you hired? What was the fee there? You're going to find that when you spread that out over, however long you're going to pay before you start getting leads and converting and closing deals, because it is a long game. It's the same as all other marketing channels. It's going to cost you a few $1,000 to get a contract.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Here's a good question. Do you think the government will be cracking down on creative financing anytime soon? No, they're going to spend more time cracking down on the real scam artists called real estate agents. I'm sorry. I'm not a real estate agent, but I'm telling you, the NAR and the multi-billion-dollar lawsuit that is going on with the NAR and all the victims of what's been going on, guys, they have way bigger fish to fry. And first and foremost, what goes on in creative finance is the way that real estate has always been done for over 500 freaking years. You guys can go back to like New England to see how people are buying properties on seller finance. It has been around since the dawn of man. There's nothing illegal about it, shady about it. All it is that nobody's talking about it the way they should be talking about it because it's a little challenging for people to understand. You have to tell analogies about iPhones. So the challenging thing is with creative finance is there's more elements and there's way more creativity there. And so people's brains kind of fry in the beginning of like, wow, there's too many options. Can you just tell me the one thing I should do? And so creative finance gets skimmed over all the time. And people go, okay, hold on. I understand save up my money. I understand get my credit good. I understand going down to the bank because it's been hammered at me for 15 years. I understand that. But when you think about creative finance, what would the government crack down on?
That was the question I wanted to ask is like, what specifically are we talking about here, right? Because, okay, let's let the only thing that you could possibly be referring to is if you do a subject to and then you're talking about due on sale. That's not a legal thing. That's not something that the government gets involved in. That's a term within a mortgage that a bank has to enforce if they ever choose to enforce it. There's no government oversight. There's no government regulation for a bank making a decision whether or not they want to enforce an action. They make a decision. They look at their books and they say, has the payment been getting made? Yeah. Okay. Everything looks good over here? Yeah. Do we want to rock the boat on this deal? No. Okay. Well, keep it going. They only start looking at situations and circumstances that cost them money. That's what is going. So if you're going to do creative finance and make sure that you're dotting your I's, crossing your T's, using the right paperwork, using the right coordinators, using the right contracts, and then make sure the payments are getting made. You're not going to have anything to think about.
The government has a problem when you don't disclose and you're fraudulent.
Yes.
That's when the government has a problem.
And
they have a problem when you deceive property owners.
Right.
When you set them up to say, just sign this, and they have no idea what's going on with it. Yep. That's the problem that they have. And I think that's the flip side of agents going, well, that's why you need us to make sure that we can take care of everything, to make sure everything's disclosed, make sure it goes through this exact process. And I totally understand it. I was an agent for a long time. But two grownups can get together, disclose what's happening, and come to an agreement, and that's what creative finance is. So I think as long as you are a truth teller, truth seeker, and you go out there to let people know what your plan is with the property, you're going to win.
Let me tell you something about creative finance.
You go.
What you know about creative
Let
finance?
me tell you something about creative finance.
So the creative
do that with an accent.
the creative REI says, hasn't creative finance been around since the 1970s, guys?
Oh my gosh!
Do you remember on our
1770s.
TV show we went to that? What's the architect guy? Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yep.
Frank Lloyd Wright ran out of money one time. Okay, and he says, I need to raise money to like save my estate. So what he did is he created 5 promissory notes that were designated to 5 parts of his body. He used his own body as a way to say, I'm an asset. Okay, I'm an asset. Creative finance has multiple different facets. He went and raised like $2 million to save his estate by
Frank
saying,
Lloyd Wright and Cesar Pena the same guy?
oh yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I had to.
Architects of disaster. So, what a sad story that is. It's a terrible story. So, Frank Lloyd Wright was like, you know what? These promissory notes are pretty magical. I'm going to partition off 5 parts of my body, sell them off to people that want to lend money to me. And he says, look, my body's an asset. I create art. I do these things. My body produces income. This is an income producing asset. And he went and raised $2 million by just selling his body. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, here's another thing. Look at the history of DuPont. Armand, you've seen the history of DuPont. Where's Armand? Is he in here still? Guys, go look at the history of DuPont. Okay, in the 1700s, 1800s, DuPont was the largest company. They were about the largest company in the United States. They sold gunpowder, and they were going to go under, and their competitor was going to buy them out. cash. One of the people on the line at DuPont was like, hold on a second. I'm one of the original DuPont family members, and I'm on the manufacturing line. Nobody's paying attention to the fact that we should not be selling the DuPont company to a competitor and selling this company off to somebody that doesn't have our last name. Our family came over here in the freaking 1600s. What are we doing? Mm-hmm. So he goes to the board at DuPont and he says, I'm going to create a new company named DuPont. And they're like, well, no, we already have a company. I know. I'm going to buy your company on seller finance, and I'm going to give you ownership of the new DuPont, and I'm going to take over the company. Don't sell it to the competitor. Mm-hmm. So seller finance saved one of the largest companies in the freaking world. This goes on in business. It goes on in vehicles. It goes on in private parties. It goes in real estate. Guys, this has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. DuPont, the entire history of that company, every color of paint that's on your car, DuPont created. Not, you ever wore nylons? Who created nylons? DuPont, saved by seller finance. And if you guys go and look at the history of this, there's over 1,500 companies that have been documented that have been saved or created that we all utilize on a daily basis because of creative finance. It is threaded in every single thing in our life. It ain't going away. The government uses it. Shit, look what Walmart does. You ever heard of a novation agreement? Walmart is the greatest novator of all time. What they do is they go, Brent, you got these these really cool t-shirts you got, mm-hmm. Sell them to us. Mm-hmm. We're going to pay you when our customer pays us. Right. That's how Walmart's entire distribution system works. That's called creative finance. By the way, realtors and brokers are the greatest at creative finance. Why? Because brokers go to realtors and they say, how about this? Mm-hmm. I'm going to tap into your network in your phone based on your life and your experiences, and you're going to go out and find contracts and listings. And when you make money on that transaction, who gets paid first?
Broker.
The broker, who didn't do any work, didn't leverage any of their relationships, and didn't pay that person to go out and put fuel in their car, pay their cell phone, their car insurance, none of that stuff. That's called creative finance. That's called leverage, people. Okay? This has been around. And when a broker tells you, creative finance isn't a thing, it's like, y'all are freaking pimping out all these agents all over the country. 2 million of these. Is that wrong? Does any agent hate this? Y'all are getting pimped out creatively. It's the most genius thing of all time. Fight me in an alley. You'll lose. Is that going too far? Am I going too far? Okay, cool. Okay. These other industry examples are really good. Thank you, Jacqueline. I appreciate that. It happens all the time. Okay, how can I undo creative financing on my house I sold to a student of yours? Jacob DeBach. That's great. I love this. This actually happened last year. I had somebody that sold the house to a student of mine. The student assigned it to an end buyer. Okay. Jacob says, how do I undo creative financing on my house? If you bought it from a student of mine, he has a performance clause in the paperwork. So Jacob, reach out to me privately. I'll help you. I'll show you how to do this. It'll be actually a really great YouTube video. Great question.
What is for the people that don't know what it means, what is the performance clause?
A performance clause basically sets up parameters that says, look, if you don't perform, let's have a gentleman's agreement that just says you're not going to make me take you through foreclosure. Okay. And when people say a deed in lieu is not enforceable, right? I'll get that. I got that yesterday. Somebody says a deed in lieu of foreclosure is non enforceable in Florida. I'm like, who told you that? Like, an escrow officer. I'm like, okay, ask the escrow officer the last time they tried it and it failed. They won't be able to. They heard it from another escrow officer. I've consulted with every attorney in every single state. Every state has a deed in lieu. Why would you have a deed in lieu that is part of your zip form documents if it's not an enforceable document? Of course, a deed in lieu of foreclosure is enforceable. When you were knocking doors back in the day, did you ever do cash for keys?
Yeah.
And you got what? A deed in lieu of foreclosure?
No.
You didn't?
No. For cash for keys?
Yeah, cash for keys.
That's just getting the tenant out. The cash for keys.
You're talking to the tenant.
Oh, your tenant out. I'm sorry, property owner, right? So there you go. So you've got these banks will offer the banks. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, the banks will offer right to the occupant that they just foreclosed on. They'll say, "Give me a deed in lieu of foreclosure. We won't take other for."
I've got a great story. So my credit was so bad when I was scratching and clawing to get out of here. I think it was like 400, whatever the lowest is. And so I had a buddy, Kyle Brown. He had a hard money lending company, and they didn't trust me. And so they would do a deed in the drawer. They would have me sign a deed in lieu of foreclosure and put it in their drawer until I was done with the flip.
There you go. I love it.
Just in case they have to get it back.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yep.
But it wasn't just me. It was a lot of people during that time. And that was just kind of common practice of what they were doing. But
Edward Nava says, any bad experiences on a creative deal? Yeah, I mean, but there's a lot of bad experiences on cash deals and traditional deals. A lot of deals. I think the number one thing on a creative finance deal that is probably the bad thing that's unique to creative finance that's not the same as traditional. Can you think of anything? Unique to creative finance. You won't find the same problem in traditional. I would say due on sale clause, but that's easy to overcome.
Non-payment.
Yeah.
Non-payment, but is that not the same thing in traditional finance?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right. Or tenants.
There's when you do wholesale the creative deal,
Mhm.
I think there's an opportunity for things to go wrong, and I think that it's really important that you work with somebody that understands how to make sure that everybody is, just like he had said, the performance deed is really important so that you don't have to go and fight to get the property back. If they default, you get the property right back. You enforce the deed on lieu. So even though that there's things that could go wrong, there's enough people have done enough transactions out there to understand what those things that could go wrong are. And then they set up protections and parameters that actually avoid those situations from happening to help protect the individual that's involved in the transaction. So I think as long as you're working with somebody that is well-versed in the instruments of creative finance, that's well-versed in the mechanics, the legalities, all of those pieces, then you shouldn't have bad experiences. You'll have experiences. How you're going to present them or what you're going to think about them being good or bad is your opinion. But again, not every deal works out smoothly. Things are going to require extra effort. That's why it's called creative. It's going to be a little bit more creative than a standard deal. So what? That's why you get paid the big bucks, right?
This is a good question. How do you deal with a seller who's overly concerned with me getting a tenant out and receiving their cash offer promptly?
Well, overly concerned with getting a tenant out? Like they want to get the tenant out?
Yeah,
they
like
want you to get the tenant out?
You're buying. This happens to us.
Yeah,
I don't know, 5-10 times a year. You'll buy a property with cash, or you'll get under a cash contract, and they've got a tenant in there that's not paying, right? And as a wholesaler, you say, "Well, we'll close escrow once the tenant is out of the property."
Right.
I think that's the question they're asking.
Well, obviously, the problem is that the property is being degraded and damaged in some way, shape, or form, and this person has no control over the tenancy. That would be my initial thing. And so they're worried that first, what you're going to do is your offer might change, or you may not want to buy the property because the condition in the property that this seller is representing to you may not be what's actually there if they've got a legit crazy person living in the house wiping poop on the wall. We've seen all kinds of crazy things happen in properties. Believe me, that is definitely could happen. So I would just make sure that you are adjusting your offer accordingly. If you have a crazy tenant that you're going to have to deal with, adjust the offer. Yeah. Make the offer lower. If you're going to have to evict, make the offer lower. If you're going to have to hire security to come with you to go and serve papers or a process server or all the things, make the offer have that insulated for you so that your offers are low enough so that you can justify whatever money you have to spend in order for the deal to work out. All this is an opportunity for you to get a better deal.
I had a deal in South Phoenix. I bought it when we were in season 2 filming. You remember going to Mercedes' house?
Oh, yeah. And I'll never forget that house.
Yeah, you almost got killed by the dog. So I buy this deal from a wholesaler. The wholesaler says, I'll give it to you for $210. I go, I'll buy it for $180. He sells it to me for $180. He still makes a $30,000 assignment. Great job on him. Why did I lower it $30,000? Is because I said, okay, I'll take over the tenant. But here's what I did not pay attention to. The tenant had been living in the property for how long? Do you remember?
It was like, 40 years?
40 plus years.
Wow.
I did not do the research on how long the tenant had been in the property. So what does that mean? I buy the property. I close escrow. The seller says, I don't want the tenant to know that I'm selling the property because I think she'll come and kill me. I don't want her to know. So I'll give you a great price on the deal.
Wasn't it her relative?
It's her mom.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Welcome to real estate. This is in the last 18 months, by the way, my guys. You think I'm like bulletproof from bullshit? I'm definitely not. No. So I buy the deal. I tell the TV show, I go, this will be a really great one for Jamil and I to go knock the door. They couldn't air it. It was so bad.
It was so bad. when she came, I don't even. She had clothes on a little bit.
Yeah.
She had a little bit of clothes on when she came out. The dog was loose, which I got friendly with. But the whole situation was really sad. Right?
I said, hey, I just want to introduce myself.
Yeah.
I'm the new owner. What was her response?
I'm the owner.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean, new owner? I never sold you the house. But it was in a different accent.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty close, though.
Yeah.
So Mercedes had lived in this property for over 47 years. She had paid rent for maybe 4 or 5 of them and then stopped making payments.
Yeah.
Her mom was like, I guess I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it. 40 years later, the mom is like, what am I doing with my life? I'm 80 something years old. I can't believe I put up with this girl's crap. I just want to sell the property.
Wow.
Okay. She says, but I don't want my daughter to know I'm selling the property because she's going to contest it. She's going to say I'm old and senile. So this is what we did. I thought I was so good. I assumed I checked all the boxes. So I called the title company. I go, can we have somebody come and verify this lady's sanity? Have we all had that situation happen where the seller comes back to you and goes, I signed under duress. I was old. I didn't know what's up.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I had the easiest contract I've ever signed in my life was probably like 6 years ago. I had Anna Martinez. If anybody knows Anna Martinez, she was with me on a ride along. We go to this appointment. I walk in and I go, all right, I want to buy the house. Let's do what are you selling it for? He goes, oh, what's your number? I tell him, he goes, all right. We signed the deal. I walk out. I was like, I was in there 12 minutes and I got a contract that was like way below what I would have normally paid. Like I just threw out a lowball anchor number. We leave. I open escrow. I get a call from his daughter, who's an attorney. She's like, you mother effing blah, blah, blah. My father has Alzheimer's.
Oh my God.
Daughter. I was like, okay, lesson learned. I'm so sorry. And he did legit have Alzheimer's. So I go, all right, anytime I have somebody that's a VA or somebody that's older, I'm going to make sure that there's somebody else involved, family member, et cetera.
Attorney.
So this one, she said, I don't want anybody to know I'm selling. So I had Fidelity Title brought in their attorney and verified this lady's sanity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It cost me like an extra $375 for like a legal fee that I was happy to pay it. Happy to pay it. So we close escrow. We go to the house. The lady says, I have eminent domain. I think is what's the word? Armand, do you know what it is?
Rights.
Adverse possession. That's what it is. Okay, love it. So Armand, he's smarter than me. Armand says, in order to claim adverse possession,
I'm stronger than Brent, by the way.
okay, you have to be paying property taxes on the property in order to claim that, which she wasn't doing. So unfortunately, I have to litigate. I have to sue this lady, go after her. She does a countersuit, and the property sits there with hard money for 11 months.
Wow.
Okay, and then one day I'm with Kevin Cho. We're cruising around. I go, you want to go check on this homeless lady? One of my contractors stopped by like on month 2 and he said, dude, the homeless people are running
is that the
an OnlyFans account out of
bro.
the backyard of this house.
Yeah. Homeless OnlyFans.
That's what it's called? That's how you find it?
I'm not lying.
No.
I'm not exaggerating. We go to the property and Chava, who's my foreman, he shows me the video of the homeless people doing it in the alleyway and filming each other. And they find out that this guy has an OnlyFans account and he has all the homeless people in the neighborhood coming and doing things to each other.
It's right around from Tent City.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
so good.
Okay.
Link in bio.
Yeah, link in bio.
Yeah, what
For
is that
for
channel?
So, anyway, I go there 11 months later. I'm like, hey, Kevin, you want to go see this house and see if this lady's like even collected more stuff? And I go to the house and she's not there. Everything's gone.
Wow.
And the neighbor comes up. He's like, hey, you're the owner? I go, yeah. And they go, dude, the house has been vacant for 10 months. She left like 30 days. So I'm sitting there suing her, thinking that she's still in the property. So many lessons. So many lessons.
So many lessons.
So many lessons.
9 months of payments. I could have. I just had somebody go and knock.
This is honestly the biggest lesson I got from this is like, don't buy anything without creative finance. That was it. I was like, why do I have a hard money loan on this stupid thing? If I just had a 2% or a 3% rate and this happened, I wouldn't be hemorrhaging. I used Frank West Capital to close on that deal.
Oh, 18%.
18%. Because I was like, oh, dude, this is easy. I'll kick her out. We'll sell it in 10 days. I don't need to even raise any money. I got an 18% interest rate loan on the deal because they'll fund 100% of your purchase. Without, I'll just text Wiley and go, hey, Wiley, I need money. Boom, 18%. No problem. 180 grand. So I'm paying like $1,900, maybe. I know it's like $2,100 in interest only for 11 months, so 25 grand. Guess what happens during that time frame? interest rates go up.
Oh my God.
So now the market settles down, especially in South Phoenix. So the property's nowhere near what I thought it was going to be worth, which was 400. It's now worth like 310 maybe. And I had to put 100 grand into it. So it's a great deal. Not every deal is a great deal, guys. You got to learn on some of these things.
Yeah.
So what I did is I refinanced it into a 7.5% DSCR loan, and I put it on pad split because it was the only physical way that I could turn into something that would cash flow, because a traditional rental at that price, my rate, I was going to lose money. So I refinanced, I pulled some of my money out, still have money tied into it. And now I'm running.
Different people living there.
Well, now I've got a OnlyFans account.
That's what I was saying.
If you guys really want to find it, it's the account's called Homely Fans.
So yeah, this kind of stuff happens all the time.
Homely Fans.
Yeah, it's so good. Oh my gosh, so good. So what do you guys do? Let's say you have
it's tricky because it's usually the family.
It's
right?
the family,
it's usually the family that doesn't pay. We just closed a deal actually with you. You guys dispoed it out in, Goodyear. And we had the grandfather was renting to the granddaughter, and he lived across the street from the house.
Okay.
They don't talk.
Wow.
They don't talk. She's been there. She hasn't made payment. She hasn't paid him in 5 years. He was like, this is a nightmare. I don't know what to do. I've tried communicating. She won't answer the whole thing. She has a bunch of people running in there. And so we had to go and just, have the conversation with her and explain what was happening. She wasn't happy about it. So you send in the eviction paperwork, and usually that does work. Right. But it's usually the family that's sitting there that's living
9
there
out of
for
10
free.
times it's the family
for sure.
It is tragic, because at the end of the day, it's not only is this property being degraded and all these things, it's just like the economic hardship, but then it's like, dude, grandpa and granddaughter aren't talking,
right?
Yeah, crazy.
That's
heartbreaking.
That's the heartbreaking piece about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they can't even come to terms with like, hey, granddaughter, so you haven't been paying rent, so you're going to need to leave at some point, right? But grandpa still loves you, but don't worry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to evict you, but grandpa still loves you.
Some of my best deals have come that way. Like my first 0 down, 0% interest deal was somebody not wanting to kick out their relatives and saying, if you take over my tenants that are my niece and nephew, I'll sell on any terms you want. I just don't want to have that uncomfortable conversation because I want to see them at Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. And then also the family member that's leasing the property from them is taking advantage of them, but they won't take advantage of me.
Right.
So we came in and we said, hey, I'm going to evict you unless you just pay on time. They were just paying 10, 15 days late every single month.
The granddaughter also convinced the grandpa like 8 years ago to put solar on the house.
Oh, wow.
And the solar payment was 60 grand for like 10 panels. It is a total scam, by the way. It is. I mean, that is just absolutely ridiculous. $60,000. And they had it, and it was the Tesla one. And the Tesla finance company will not, you have to pay it off if an investor buys the property.
They won't let you do a transfer.
So unless it's an owner,
yes. Yeah.
Unless it's owner,
trash,
it is.
Yeah.
For what? $60,000 for 10 solar panels. They just scam people into signing whatever for whatever price. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Cody Simoncelli. I suck at
Simoncelli.
What's the craziest story of purchasing a house you ever witnessed? Mine in under 2 minutes was, by the way, horror stories. This Friday, we have the Attorney General of California and I can't even believe I'm saying this, and the Attorney General of Utah are showing up to a training to talk about the fraud in real estate, the fraud in title companies, the fraud in lending. These guys have full-on task force that are attacking and reverse engineering how these people are doing all these scams. Wow. So go to elephantchallenge.info to register. It's going to be Friday at 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. and the attorney generals are going to come in. The fact that, you want to know what happened? You know how I got in touch with the California Attorney General? You want to hear this, love? You do? I feel convinced when she says yes. Okay. So I get a call from Molly on my team. Obviously, you guys know Molly really well. And she goes, I know like you don't want me to put you in touch with people and you want me to shield you from this stuff, but you're going to want to take this phone call. I'm like, okay. And she says, it's the Attorney General of California. He thinks that you're scamming people. oh my gosh, get me through to this guy. What's going on?
Yeah.
I get on the phone with the attorney general and he says, I got a proof of funds from one of your partners. I've gotten maybe 4 or 5 complaints from real estate agents about this same exact proof of funds. They say it seems so too good to be true. And my proof of funds is a video.
Mm-hmm.
It's me literally going, hey, my name is Pace Morby. Here's this. I'm logging into my Chase account right now. Here's the account number. I literally use my username and password on this video. I log in and you can see $3.5 million or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I go, so the money's here. And so my students use that and they send that out to agents and go, this is my partner. And so him and I work through all that. He goes, oh my gosh, wow, you do that for people? Yeah. Good mentors do that kind of stuff. And, I know other people that do it as well, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he goes, man, do you got like an hour? I go, for the freaking Attorney General of California? Sure. What do you got? And he goes, well, we have a task force of 15 people. And I've got a couple of scams that are going on that I have no idea why these people are motivated to do what they're doing.
Mm.
I go, ooh, hit me with this. I'm all about being a detective. Let the deal detective. Tell me about it. He says, all right, so this is crazy. We get so many agents, probably 15 to 50 real estate agents call our office on a monthly basis and saying, it happened again. These freaking buyers, these ghost buyers are getting these sellers under contract and me under contract. And then we literally never hear from them ever again. And I go, man, that sounds a lot like somebody learning wholesaling on YouTube. And he goes, what's wholesaling?
Wow.
I go, okay, well, wow. I didn't want to say that to be like, wow, I want to say it out loud. But I was like, wow, this is amazing that we have all these people doing wholesale deals all over the country, California, all the way over to Maine. Is Maine the last state in the country?
Well, yeah.
Okay, it's almost there.
Vermont.
Okay.
That's right.
So from California to Vermont, people are doing wholesale deals. And I tell him what wholesale is. And he goes, why would they get these people under contract and literally just like these? There was an agent that told us that there was a buyer, this ghost buyer, that worked with her for 7 months and worked her down to get her under contract and then literally never heard from her again. What is the scam that's going on? Why? And I go, it's not a scam, sir. It's uneducated people that are not collaborating and squatting up with people that know what the hell they're doing. They're learning on YouTube and they're guessing. They're just guessing. They don't know how to comp. He's like, oh my gosh. So, well, what happens if they do know how to comp? And I go, well, they buy it at the appropriate number and they work with somebody that knows how to sell the deal and they get an assignment fee. He says, what's an assignment fee?
Wow.
I'm not lying. This man is coming on Friday to talk about all the scams he does know about. Title companies are fake. Hard money lenders that are like, pay me the money to us direct, and then we'll wire the money. Like all of those known scams, but he's got like 4 or 5 I've never heard of before.
Oh, so, there's the give me $10,000 and I'll give you a hard money loan.
That's it. Yeah,
there's
that one.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that the Attorney General of California is sitting there going, we have all these people getting houses under contract and just disappearing. What do you think is happening there, Brent and Jamil? Why are wholesalers doing this?
No, 100%. They have not adequately or appropriately understood the value of the property. So they probably over-offered on the property, or they did get it at a good price and they just don't know how to dispo it. So they don't have a buyer in line, or they haven't created a relationship with somebody that could help them dispo the property. And so they've ran their inspection period. They don't know how to have the conversation and cancel the deal. They don't even know how to cancel the deal. And since they never put up earnest money in the first place, they're just like, bug it. That's what I think happens.
Are they too embarrassed to just go back to the agent and go, hey,
100%.
I got to cancel? Like, why couldn't they just cancel?
I think they're afraid.
They're afraid of it. Yeah, they're afraid to have the hard conversation. It's just like, well, if I don't have nothing to lose, if I don't put earnest money in. So if I didn't put earnest money in, I have nothing to have to go back and get. So there's no point in me having this really embarrassing conversation where I pretended like I was going to be able to close this deal. And then ultimately I'm unable to close the deal. So now I have to eat crow. So instead of eating crow, they're going to let this seller pack a U-Haul.
Yeah.
Think the property is closing. Move. Do all of these things instead of just having the conversation and saying, you know what? I got this thing under contract too high. I have to cancel. Sorry.
offering on another house contingent on this
Oh
one
my
selling,
gosh.
and then they lose out on that house.
You remember that story about the lady in Fayetteville, North Carolina? You and I visited the property with Noah Hoffman a couple of years ago. So I buy the deal from Ted Miller.
Yeah, I remember
This is
that deal.
actually the deal that brought you and Ted Miller together. Okay, do you know the story of this?
Oh, yeah.
So I get Ted Miller comes into a Zoom a couple of years ago, and he's like, "Pace, will you call this seller?" I go, "Bro, it's 11 o'clock at night. Let's do it." So I call the seller. Her name is Jacqueline. Okay, ended up calling this seller, and I hear her rustling like on the phone. I'm like, "Wow, are you okay? Like, am I waking you up out of bed?" She's like, "Oh, no problem. I'm just unzipping my sleeping bag."
Well,
She's sleeping in a nice home, a 5-bed, 3-bath house. She's sleeping on the floor in her living room in a sleeping bag. She spent all of her money, okay, getting a U-Haul, packing everything up, and shipping it to Arizona where her daughter lives so she can move. And I go, what's going on? She goes, well, I'm waiting for escrow to close tomorrow. It was supposed to close 3 days ago, and I'm waiting for it to hopefully close tomorrow
Oh my God, yeah, I
so that I
remember
can get my money
Wow.
and actually get over to where my daughter is. This is all on a recorded Zoom. It's in the Zoom vault. It's one of the greatest calls ever. And I go, ma'am, I got to tell you something. Your house is worth $280. He contracted you at $270. Cash offer. Your house is worth $280. He contracted you at $270. How is he going to make any money? She goes, I asked him that. Like, how are you? She listed the house on the MLS. Agent couldn't sell it. Okay. She then worked with the wholesalers. Wholesalers canceled on her. She's like, no problem. Like, they tried, whatever. This guy's like, we're going to close. We're going to close. Convinced this lady that it was okay to move across the country and use her last dollars to do so. I say, ma'am, I gotta tell you the truth. You got basically scammed.
Yep.
And I sit here and I look at Creative REI, and he says wholesaling is about to get regulated in California. I hope it gets regulated everywhere.
Yeah.
If you're going to get somebody under contract and you have an inspection period, tell them that you're canceling. Do not overpromise to people. These are building relationships and helping people. So what we ended up doing is I said, have you ever heard of Creative Finance?
Mm-hmm.
She says, no. And I go, can we get your daughter on the phone? So I got her daughter on the phone, who was in Arizona. It's 8 o'clock. It was probably like 11:20 by this time. And I converted her over to a Creative Finance contract. We got her $5,000 in her pocket. Okay, so she can move and do all the thing. And I still own that property to this day. And you and I went and visited it. Remember we went downtown and had those turkey sandwiches?
Yep.
Hella good turkey
Really
sandwiches.
good, really good sandwiches. But even better that you were able to help that individual out of that situation. And again, guys, anybody who's watching this right now, if you are new and you're just trying to piece together the processes and you don't have money to get involved in the community or anything like that, that's completely fine. There are people in the chat right now that do have the knowledge, that can help you, that would love to squat up with you and show you the ropes, teach you the appropriate way to value property, teach you the appropriate way to make sure that your contracts are buttoned up and so that you have the appropriate inspections and contingencies on your contracts that can help you with earnest money. I bet you there's more than 50 Gator lenders in the chat right now that will come to the table and provide you a short-term loan for your earnest money. Everything that you want to do in real estate can be accomplished with other people that you can work with in the community, but it's going to take you not being an asshole.
Yeah,
I mean that, right?
I
mean it in the most honest way possible, right? Like when you are asking and seeking help from people, understand that it's not their job to help you, right? It's your privilege.
Yep.
It's your privilege to be helped, and you need to be humble about that. And you need to come and try to provide value and be grateful and thankful for folks that are helping you. I get DMs from people that say, I try to reach out to so-and-so and they never. I'm like, well, motherfucker, if you're going to reach out to the person the way you're talking to me right now, I wouldn't call you back either, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me for everybody, as my daughter
It's
calls.
okay. It's okay.
She's like, Dad, stop swearing on the internet. I'm watching you right now. My friends say, what's wrong with your dad? I'm not going to pick up that phone.
Can I give you two?
Of course. Yeah.
Two that I've recently. There are people that are putting out wholesale deals that they have not locked up.
What?
And then
Oh,
they're
wait, hold
ask-
on,
then,
hold on.
Then they're wait.
Be more clear there.
That
They're blasting it out to buyers.
They've never talked to the seller.
Wow.
They don't have a purchase agreement. They're asking to get this deal, smoking hot deals on all of them. Give me 5,000 to 10,000 in earnest money. Give me the 5 to 10,000 in earnest money, and then I'll give you the paperwork. And so they're getting money for nothing, for absolutely nothing. That's one. The other one is, hey, why don't I just quick claim deed this to you? This house that I own, let me quick claim deed this to you. You give me 15,000, I'll sell you this property, and we'll just cut out the title company. So for anybody getting started, number one, earnest money gets deposited at a title company or closing attorney. Number two is don't just pay for somebody to sign over a deed and go through a title company.
Yeah.
Or here's what I would do. I would see this awesome human being right here I'm staring at right now. Love Saza. You can help me out with making sure that I'm using a good title company. I'm protected in my contracts. I'm doing all the right things. I have an inspection period in my cash contract. You help out with all that stuff, right?
Yes.
But in order for me to get there, I probably need somebody with a magic mustache to get on the phone with my sellers.
Wow.
Okay, Munif, is there a way that I could reach out to Munif Saza and say, Munif, I've got a seller I need you to call?
At this time, what most people do is because yes, in the beginning I did that a lot.
Now you're not. You're telling me you're retiring.
No, not exactly.
Okay.
What I would do is I'd talk to any seller. It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter when. I talk to anybody. Now I'm very specific in which sellers I talk to.
Okay.
And so I'm very picky.
Why?
Because the amount of people who have been blowing up my phone is I can't talk to every seller.
You mean when you put your phone number on the hotline?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
So it has to be in my buy box. It has to be a seller who.
Where can I find your buy box? Can I DM you on Instagram?
Yeah, you can DM me on Instagram.
Okay, what's your Instagram?
It's just at Munif Saza.
Munif Saza, MUNIFSAZA.
Yes, exactly.
What is the style of that mustache called, by the way?
I really
Yosemite
don't
Sam.
know. Yosemite
The Saza.
Sam.
Saza. It's the Saza.
It's the Saza.
It's the Saza stash.
So when you say people send you like a lot of what they think are opportunities,
Right.
What are you seeing the most that if they just changed a little bit, if you just knew a little bit of more information, you would really pay attention to it?
So some people just send me an address
Right.
and a phone number,
Right.
and I can't do much with that. But some people say, "Hey, I talked to this seller.
Mhm.
Here's their issue. Here's the address. Here are the comps."
Right.
And I know it's somewhere you buy. I can actually help that person. I can either coach them on what to say next, which is what I've been doing a lot now. I'll just text them back and say this, say this, say this. They'll move it a little bit forward, move it a little bit forward, move it a little bit forward, and then I'll finally get on the phone with the seller or the agent, or they'll just ghost me.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing there.
Mystique Drake says, how can I safeguard myself when going to a wholesaler about a property I'd like to sell them? Like just saying, hey, how much would you pay for this? I think Jamil, the king of disposition, with the best disposition, dropping F-bombs today.
Sorry, I just meditated for 36 hours. So I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. I'll be honest with you. Obviously, I didn't find God, right? Because it's cussing like a sailor over here. But no, here's what's up, right? There's a couple things about your statement that I want to understand. When you say, how do I go to a wholesaler and safeguard myself? That tells me a lot. Right? You're safeguarding yourself because you don't have a deal under contract, right? If you want to go to a wholesaler and you're like, hey, how much would you pay for this? Well, that means that you don't have control of the situation, right? So the best way to safeguard your position in a deal is to have your position in the deal, right? Meaning have the deal under contract. If you are JVing, have an option. If you want to make sure that they can't sell it to anybody else, have an exclusive option. I mean, there's ways and instruments that give you protection to make sure that you're not wasting your time and that people won't circumvent you or go around you. But in reality, okay, people don't go around people that they have a relationship with. That is the truth, right? If you have a relationship with your buyers, if you have a relationship with your acquisition wholesalers, let me tell you something, okay? For I don't know, maybe 8 years, when it was still me taking people's phone calls and people's text messages, people would send me an address for a property that they were going to have an appointment on the next day.
That's me.
Sometimes they send me an address on a property that they were going to go talk to in sometime during the week, right? Now imagine this. This man would write a check for $50,000 or $60,000 to home investors every single month so that his phone would ring 15 times with those addresses, right? And he's calling me with the address before he goes to the house. Now, if I was a scumbag, what could I have done? I could have gone to the house and I could have been like, hey, I heard you want to sell your house. I'll buy it, right? You could totally do that. But integrity, right? Your name, your reputation, how you act, how you behave, that gets around fast, right? People will talk about you. People will say that person's good business, that person's bad business, right? That's what it is. And so if you're dealing with good people, like the people within this community, you really shouldn't have to worry about that kind of stuff. People will help you. You can give them an address. They'll help you with a buy number, and you don't got to worry about them going around. And if they do, if that person takes the cheap way out and they go around your back and they go and do a deal with somebody that you try, you know what? You learn fast.
Yep.
You learn fast that this person is not somebody that you should probably do business with, and call it a day, right? I know what you're going to say. You should contract everything, and you're right.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm going to affirm what you said.
Okay.
But I also want to point out that we have our good buddy Investment Joy from from Columbus, Ohio, just paid us $20.
Nice.
We just visited his laundromat,
Love
hung out.
him.
He's so great. We had such a great time over there in Ohio. I was like, wow, people like. Okay, never mind. No more Ohio jokes. I actually like Ohio. So
we had a great time out there.
We had a blast. But he's saying, what kind of pie is the best? Well, the problem is, I said, can you get me a Mennonite pie? And we went to a Mennonite store. You guys don't know what Mennonites are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like ultra Amish, bro. They're like Amish squared. And I was like, bro, take me to, like, I need some jam from these guys. I need to what next Halloween we're going
to go trick-or-treating out there.
Pumpkin Festival.
Yeah.
They have the largest pumpkin festival in the world. We're going to be doing that with Investment Joy. So thank you for that. Here's what I'm going to say about that. Here's a story real quick. I know we're running out of time. I do a deal up in Sunny Slope. I get a hell of a deal, love, a hell of a deal. I can close a contract or two. I get a hell of a deal. I send it to a gentleman named John. That is his real name. And may I continue on with my story?
Sure.
Okay. So John, I send the deal to John. I go, hey, John, what do you think this is worth? He goes, oh yeah, I can sell it for 200. I bought it for 120. He finds out, he goes, no problem. Send me the underlying contract so I can, blah, 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 blah. He sees I'm making an $80,000 assignment. About 4 days later, I get a letter from the title company that says, hey, just so you know, we received a letter from your seller canceling the contract, saying that they signed under duress and that your contract is not a good contract anymore. I go, that's not correct. I record every seller. I record every appointment, everyone. I actually did not have a contract on me, and I didn't have a TC at the time. Love, where were you? And I should have called the TC and had it signed right there, but I'm glad I actually didn't, because the next day, my wife, who is my TC, or what used to be my TC, she went and met with the seller, April. She also records her conversation with April, single woman, always record the conversation, get the contract. We have 2 recorded conversations with 2 different people, back to back, buy the property for 120. My wife is also a gangster. She got the deal under contract. I'm like, what is really going on here? So they send over the letter. I read the letter. I'm like, damn, that's elegant writing. That's eloquent. Very, very verbose. It goes on and on and on and on. I'm like, wow, she has some help here.
Mm-hmm.
So I litigate. This is one of the lawsuits that I win. What do we sue for when a seller is trying to cancel a contract?
Specific performance.
So I sue for specific performance. All right. We go all the way down to a judgment. The judge says, you had a valid contract. You had a recorded conversation. This lady's lying. And it comes out that John may or may not have, just kidding. John went to her house 3 days after I sent him the contract and knocked on the door and said, I know the gentleman who blah, 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 blah. I'll give you $2,500 more.
Wow.
I'll give you $2,500 more if you sign with me.
But may I ask you his last name?
You may, but I may or may not tell you. So John ends up never doing a deal with me ever again. And I tell everybody this story. He's nowhere to be found now.
Yeah.
Nobody does business with him anymore. He was actually doing like 20 or 30 JV deals a month.
Yeah.
I have not ran into him in 5 years.
No, he's done.
He's done. He's a turd. Everybody in town knows he's a turd. He goes around people. He does bad things to people. And that's what happens, guys. Bad things will happen to you. Somebody will go around you. Somebody will steal from you.
But the word gets out fast, and guess what happens? The community shuns them, right?
Yeah.
It's what happens.
Oh, this is great. Tyler Townsley says, I'm currently suing for specific performance now with Pace's contract. The attorney said it was the best contract he's ever seen, and we should have no problem whatsoever.
Wow.
Noah Hoffman's paid $99 to have me post this, apparently. Who wants to do a deal with Munif and I? I have a few spots left. How can people do a deal with you guys?
Oh, yeah. So we have a deal. We're actually doing that deal together.
I know. I'm a partner with you.
You're a partner on the deal. It's in Pensacola, Florida.
Exciting deal.
22 Airbnbs. We can actually talk about it because we have a regulation CF
Right.
on the deal. And if you want to partner with me, Noah, and Pace, text me at 571-274-4087.
Say it one more time, please.
It's 571-274-4087.
Okay, 571
274
274
4087.
4087. Boom.
That's
All
my
right.
real number.
That's his real number. He doesn't want to call your sellers, but he will let you he will
He'll comp
let-
any deal you have. Whether you talk to the seller or not, he will do everything for you. Don't worry about it.
Love Francis. You've been such a great addition to our community. You're just like
People are calling me, right?
one of these anchor people and human beings. We love you so much. You're amazing. You had this first sub 2 baby. We're so proud of you guys. How did you guys meet, by the way?
We met at, this is pertinent to you guys, we met at the Triple Digit Flip event.
Yeah, the
night
premiere,
before,
right?
The premiere, yep.
Yep.
We
Yep.
put a premiere on. We spent about $250,000 to make sure that you guys met each other.
Yeah.
Wow.
What was his opening line, Love?
Are you a TC?
Are you serious?
It was I need a TC.
I need a TC.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And here we are.
Here we are.
And
It
then what?
worked.
And then what happened? Like,
Magic.
when did you guys like get in the back seat, start making
actual,
out?
The actual story. We were just telling Elijah Rubin and his wife earlier. We actually, I ended up not using her for TC services, but she had a deal. She wanted me to talk to one of her sellers. So at that time I was doing that. And she is a very curious person by nature. She'll ask anybody about where they're from, what their background is, ask about their parents, where they're from. And I thought she was hitting on me. I thought she was very interested in me because I was like, nobody, everyone's so transactional with me in this business. Nobody actually cares about me. But that's just who she is as a person. And it's one of the main reasons I fell in love with her. And I just had this self-fulfilling prophecy in my head that, man, this girl's into me. I should make a move. I should make a move. I should make a move. I made a move thinking, wow, like, of course, she's so into me. And in her head, she's going, what is going on? Oh my God, I don't hate this. And that's how it started.
Wait. I don't hate this?
Yeah. I went to kiss her and she didn't hate it.
Wow.
Hey.
Give it up for these two lovebirds.
And that's how you close the deal.
That's how you close it.
Wholesale Hotline number 190. We're out.
Or just say squat up.